Hello everyone, welcome back to Fraud on the Telly. In today's video, we make a return to one of my favorite shows in order to go over the top 5 lines in the Legend of Vox Machina. If you didn't know, the Legend of Vox Machina is an animated show based off the Dungeons & Dragons campaign Critical Role, which is streamed live on Twitch featuring famous voice actors Matt Mercer, Taliesin Jaffe, Marisha Ray, Liam O'Brien, Sam Riegel, Travis Willingham, Laura Bailey, and Ashley Johnson. The Legend of Vox Machina follows the events of Campaign 1 of Critical Role almost directly to the letter as it took place in the campaign. The Legend of Vox Machina is amazingly true to the story of Critical Role, so much so that much of the dialogue from the animated series was actually taken directly from the campaign itself. It's even more impressive when you realize that this dialogue itself was all improv, being that it's a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, which makes it crazier because it produced some of the best lines in the entire show. As always, if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into it. Before we get into the list, I want to go over one honorable mentions. Grog's "I would like to rage," a line that has become a catchphrase for all barbarians. I'm not ashamed to admit how hard I fanboyed at hearing Travis say "I would like to rage" as Grog for the first time in Legends of Vox Machina.
I would like to rage.
Vox Machina, after using teamwork and strategy, have wounded the dragon. Suddenly, the epic music comes in hard as everyone's favorite barbarian Goliath finally gets his time to shine.
Nice and low.
Damn, the Dragon Ball Z vibes are real. Number 5, The Pup Yet Lives. Our first entry comes in episode 3 of The Legend of Vox Machina. Vox Machina are attending a banquet in Sovereign Uriel's castle. Percy has informed his party members that the evil couple known as the Briarwoods, who conquered Percy's lands and slaughtered his family, are here at the banquet. Vax has snuck off to investigate their rooms, but is caught completely off guard as the Lord and Lady discover him snooping. Vax makes a desperate attempt to escape, leaping out the window to the courtyard below. As it seemed hope was lost for everyone's favorite half-elf rogue, the party arrives just in time. Keyleth swooping down to attack the couple in eagle form, she is easily pushed away. Percival then runs forward, aiming his gun, screaming Silas, and firing at the two.
First shot. Against who? Silas!
Both avoid the bullets as Delilah quips, "Would you look at that, dear? The pup yet lives." Fun fact, this line was actually said by Silas in the campaign. I'm not sure why they decided to switch it, but wow, does it sound menacing coming from voice actress Grey Griffin, and that's why it makes number 5 on our list. Number 4, It's Us. Number 4 brings us forward a couple episodes to episode 5. Vox Machina, having been attacked by Delivers Race, are now worried Sovereign Uriel is under Silas's influence. They set out to Whitestone to make things right. On the way, they discover that the land has grown dark. A fog permeates the area and undead creatures roam the woods. It's nothing at all as Percy remembers, as he describes his home, saying it's beautiful land that provides a bountiful, lush harvest. The orchard trees are always in bloom, and standing over it all in the center of the city resides the Great Sun Tree, a towering tree which the locals believe was planted by a god many years ago. As the group enters the city, nothing is as Percy has described. The land has grown barren, the streets empty, commoners afraid to leave their homes, and the great Sun Tree now stands leafless, a skeleton of its former self. The party sneak their way through the city, avoiding guards until they pass near the giant tree, looking on in horror as 7 bodies hang from the tree, each dressed to resemble the members of Vox Machina, a message that if they were to enter the city, this is what would happen to them. As Keyleth and the party look on in horror, the realization hits, as all she can say is, "It's us." One of the most powerful moments of the entire show, and even more impactful when you've seen the way player Marisha Ray reacts to realizing these bodies were made to look like them live in the campaign.
This figure is actually not humanoid. It appears to have been
Oh my god.
recently hunted bear that is dangling.
No.
Wait, what? Is that us?
It looks like us.
What?
It's us.
They killed people they thought were us. Or they killed, or it's a message. Or it's a message to us.
Number 3, Jenga. Possibly the most famous scene in Critical Role Campaign 1. At number 3 we have Jenga, or maybe we should say Chenga now for copyright reasons. Back on up to the events of episode 3, Vax has just infiltrated the Briarwoods room in order to uncover information on what the couple might be planning. Before setting out, the group agreed a safe word if things were to all go to This would be Changa, which would be relayed over the group's magical earrings. Suddenly, as Vax discovers Delilah's secret book, he is cornered by the Lord and Lady. Failing in an attempt to talk his way out of the situation, Vax tries to make a break for it, but is restrained by Silas, who then charms the half-elf with his vampiric gaze. As Vax stands there helpless, the audience is treated to one of the second big reveals of the show, as Silas plunges his teeth into Vax's neck. Surprise, surprise, he was in fact a vampire all along. Vax, wounded and outnumbered, decides his only option is to flee, and so he jumps out of the window, tumbling to the courtyard below. As he lays there, his blood spilling out, he manages to utter the words Jenga, causing his party to rush to his aid. For those who don't know, this scene was almost identical to what took place in the campaign, even down to the layout of the Briarwood's room. This scene was as true as it could be to its D&D counterpart, and it's probably the most beloved scene in all of Critical Role. Number 2. Murder in My Heart. Fast forward now to episode 8, our second entry on this list comes from best boy Percy DeRollo, and his murderous line, "Murder in my heart." Vox Machina are rallying a revolution in Whitestone by waging attacks on the nobles' homes. Percy and Vox Machina are raiding Professor Anders' home, who is currently holding Percy's once-thought-dead sister, Cassandra. As Percy bursts into Anders' studies, the professor holds a knife to Cassandra's throat. In a move that definitely would have surprised viewers who didn't watch Campaign 1, Anders runs the knife across her throat and a battle ensues. Things seem to be going Vox Machina's way as Percy's backup has arrived and the group defeat Anders' animated suits of armor. Anders, being backed into a corner, uses his trump card, mind-controlling Grog with a Dominate Person spell, turning him on his allies. Not long after, the rest of Vox Machina come under Anders' control as Percy is now alone facing down his party members. In a 300 IQ moment, Percy ricochets a bullet, blowing off Anders' jaw, saving his allies. Next, in a moment of brutality, he steps over his former professor, jamming his gun into his jaw, saying,
"You're the face I saw when murder entered my heart. This is your doing," and I pull the trigger.
As he pulls the trigger, ending the professor's existence, one of the best character storylines of all of Vox Machina. Taliesin was really on his A-game in these episodes, giving us so many dark and real lines of emotion, and for that, this makes number 2 on our list. At number 1, your soul is forfeit. Could there really be any other line that comes into number 1? Especially if you know my love of Percy. Back into episode 3 we go. Wow, pretty crazy. 3 of these lines came from this one episode. The Briarwoods, after fighting with Vox Machina in the courtyard, managed to escape on their carriage, leaving their driver, a young man, left behind. Percy, in a rage at having lost his chance for vengeance, stands over the man, pointing his gun at him, demanding answers. Angered by the young man's lack of information, Percy dons his mask, smoke beginning to collate around him. In Percy's first brutal act of many, he shoots the defenseless man's hand off. As the man cries in pain, begging Percy to stop, Percy gives us the best Lois line of the entire show.
"You fool. Now your soul is forfeit."
What makes this line even better is when you see the original it was taken from. In the campaign, Taliesin actually said this line later on in a different encounter, but the story writers for Legend of Vox Machina decided to add it to this carriage driver scene, which I think is purely genius. But for fun, let's just watch Taliesin's original delivery of this line.
As it happens, as I keep unloading, the gun still breaks and I'm still pulling the trigger.
"You fool, your soul is forfeit! Die! Die!"
So what do you think of my top 5 of the best lines in Legend of Vox Machina? Let me know your list in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys again for watching my video. Click another video on screen now. As always, guys, I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace, love. Adu.